Hello, I'm Brian Tracy. Over the years, I've spoken to millions of people about success, achievement, and greatness. But here's something most people don't understand: success isn't always about being seen, heard, or noticed. In fact, some of the most incredible achievements happen when no one is watching. Today, I want to talk to you about something powerful. It's time to ghost everyone, disappear from the noise, and grind in silence. Because that's where true success is built. In my early days, I learned a valuable lesson: success doesn't happen in the spotlight. The real work, the real progress, happens when you're off the grid, away from distractions, focused solely on your goals. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded with the need to be seen, to share everything we do. But I'm here to tell you that there's another way, and it's more powerful than you can imagine. Silence has an immense power that most people overlook. You see, when you're constantly talking about your plans, sharing every thought, every step with others, you're giving away your power. You're diluting your energy. Have you ever noticed how the more you share, the less motivated you feel to actually get it done? That's because you've released the energy that was meant to be channeled into action. When I was younger, I fell into that same trap. I would share my ideas with friends, family, colleagues, anyone who would listen. And while it felt good in the moment, I realized something disturbing. The more I talked, the less progress I made. My energy was being scattered, given away before I even had the chance to act on it. So I decided to make a change. I went silent. I stopped sharing my plans, my dreams, my goals. And something incredible happened. The energy I once spent on talking, I now use for grinding, for doing the real work. That's when my life started to change. When you silence the noise and focus inward, you'll notice a dramatic shift. The energy you conserve by not sharing your every move will propel you forward faster than you ever thought possible. There's a reason so many people struggle to achieve greatness. It's because they fear the loneliness that comes with it. Success, real success, is built in isolation. It's in those moments when you're alone, working when no one is watching, that you truly build the foundation of greatness. I remember a specific time in my life when I was building my first successful business. The excitement of starting something new was quickly overshadowed by the realization that no one understood what I was doing. My friends were out enjoying life, and here I was, working late into the night. I would often sit in the dark, staring at my computer, wondering if it was all worth it. The silence was deafening, the loneliness palpable. But in those moments of silence, I found something deeper. I found clarity. I found drive. I found an unshakable belief in myself. When no one else was around, I learned to rely on my own strength, my own determination. The road to success is often lonely, but that's a good thing. In solitude, you'll find the inner strength you never knew you had. You'll learn to trust yourself, to push through when no one is cheering you on. That's where greatness is forged. Sometimes the best way to make progress is to disappear. Not forever, but long enough to focus entirely on yourself, your goals, and your vision. In today's world of constant connectivity, the idea of disappearing might seem strange. But trust me, it's one of the most powerful things you can do. I can vividly recall a time in my life when I decided to disappear from the world for a few months. I didn't tell anyone what I was working on. I didn't share updates on social media. I just put my head down and worked. During that time, I created some of the most impactful content of my career. No distractions. No external validation. Just pure, focused effort. And when I finally re-emerged, I had something to show for it. People were shocked at what I had accomplished, but they didn't realize that it was the silence, the focus, and the grind that made it possible. Sometimes you need to ghost the world to make real progress. When you're no longer seeking approval or validation, you'll find that you can achieve more than you ever thought possible. One of the biggest reasons people fail to reach their full potential is distraction. We live in a world where distractions are everywhere: our phones, our computers, our TVs, and even the people around us. And the most dangerous part? We don't even realize how much time we're wasting. There was a point in my career where I was stuck. I wasn't making progress, and I couldn't figure out why. Then one day, I took a hard look at how I was spending my time. I realized that hours of my day were being consumed by meaningless distractions: checking emails, scrolling through social media, getting lost in conversations that weren't moving me forward. So I made a decision. I cut out all the distractions. I turned off my phone during work hours, stopped checking emails every 5 minutes, and limited my social interactions. The results were immediate. My focus skyrocketed, and my productivity went through the roof. Distractions are the enemy of success. The more you allow yourself to be pulled in different directions, the less you'll accomplish. If you want to reach your full potential, you have to eliminate the noise and focus on what truly matters. There's something incredibly powerful about working in the shadows. When no one is watching, when no one knows what you're doing, that's when you can make the most progress. Because you're free. Free from judgment. Free from expectations. Free to focus entirely on your work. I remember working on my first major book. No one knew I was writing it. I didn't tell anyone. I would get up at 4 a.m., work in the quiet hours before the world woke up. And slowly, but surely, the book started to take shape. I didn't seek validation. I didn't need approval. I just kept working, silently, in the shadows. And when the book was finally published, it was a success. But that success didn't happen overnight. It was built in those silent, solitary hours when no one was watching. The greatest work is often done in the shadows, away from the spotlight. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, learn to embrace the silence and use it to fuel your grind. As consistency is the key to success, but it's also one of the hardest things to master. It's easy to start strong, to have a burst of motivation, but what separates the winners from everyone else is the ability to keep going when the excitement wears off. I've met countless people who start off with great enthusiasm. They have big goals, big dreams, and they're excited to chase them. But as time goes on, the excitement fades, and so does their effort. That's where they lose. But those who stick with it, who grind day in and day out, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, those are the ones who succeed. It's the small, consistent actions that add up to big results. It's not about doing something extraordinary once, it's about doing the ordinary consistently over and over again until it becomes extraordinary. If you want to achieve greatness, you have to be consistent. Show up every day, put in the work, and trust that the results will follow. When you've ghosted the world, when you put in the silent work, something incredible happens when you finally reappear. You come back stronger. You come back more focused, more determined, and more powerful than ever before. I've seen this transformation in myself and in countless others. When you take the time to disappear, to focus entirely on your work, you come back with a strength that no one can deny. People will wonder how you did it, how you made so much progress seemingly overnight. But what they don't see is the months, the years of silent grinding that got you there. The world will notice when you reappear, but the real victory is in knowing that you did it. You put in the work, you stayed consistent, and now you're reaping the rewards. Disappearing isn't about hiding, it's about growing. And when you re-emerge, you'll be stronger, more capable, and more prepared to take on the world. One of the most underrated skills in the pursuit of success is self-discipline. The ability to do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like it, separates winners from dreamers. And self-discipline is built in silence, away from the noise, where you can't be tempted by distractions. When I started my first business, I had to teach myself to work without external motivation. There were no crowds cheering me on, no instant gratification for the work I put in. Every morning I would sit down at my desk and ask myself, what's the most important thing I can do today to move my goals forward? And then I would do it no matter how I felt. Over time, I realized that self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And the best way to develop it is to remove yourself from the world's distractions, to focus solely on your work, and to build the habit of discipline in silence. Self-discipline is your greatest ally in the silent grind. When you master it, you can achieve anything because you no longer rely on fleeting motivation. You rely on your own inner strength. Your environment shapes your outcomes, and that includes the people you surround yourself with. When you're grinding in silence, it's essential to be selective about who you let into your inner circle. Not everyone deserves to be part of your journey. I once had a mentor who told me, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. At first, I didn't think much of it. But over time, I realized how true that statement was. When I surrounded myself with people who were complacent, I became complacent. When I surrounded myself with high achievers, I pushed myself harder. So when you decide to ghost everyone and grind, you have to evaluate who you let into your life. Keep your circle small, filled with people who inspire you, who challenge you, and who understand the value of working in silence. The fewer distractions you allow into your life, the more progress you'll make. Choose your inner circle wisely, because they will either lift you up or hold you back. Failure is a part of every journey to success, and the fear of failure is one of the biggest reasons people stop before they even start. But when you're grinding in silence, away from the spotlight, you can embrace failure without fear. I've failed more times than I can count. In fact, my early career was filled with failures. I launched projects that didn't succeed, made investments that didn't pay off, and experienced setbacks that seemed insurmountable at the time. But in those moments, I learned something valuable. Failure is not the end, it's a stepping stone to success. When you're not worried about what others think, when you're not constantly seeking validation, you're free to fail, learn, and grow. You become fearless because you understand that failure is just part of the process. Failing in silence is powerful. It allows you to pick yourself up and keep moving forward without the weight of judgment. Every failure brings you one step closer to success. We live in a world that values instant gratification, likes, shares, and quick wins. But true success requires a long-term vision. It requires the ability to look beyond the immediate and focus on the future. And that's hard to do when you're constantly distracted by the noise around you. Early in my career, I had a clear vision of where I wanted to be in 10, 15, even 20 years. But it wasn't easy to stay focused on that long-term vision. I saw people around me chasing quick success, making money fast, and it was tempting to follow their lead. But I knew that if I stayed the course, if I focused on my vision, the rewards would be far greater. And I was right. The things I built with a long-term mindset have lasted far longer and brought more fulfillment than any short-term win ever could. Your long-term vision is what will keep you grounded when the world around you is rushing toward immediate gratification. Stay focused on the future, and you'll achieve success that lasts. One of the biggest reasons people fail to reach their potential is that they spread themselves too thin. They try to do everything at once, juggling multiple projects, and end up making minimal progress on any of them. But when you decide to grind in silence, you learn the art of focusing on one thing. There was a point in my career when I was juggling too many things. I had multiple business ventures, projects, and goals, and I was making slow progress on all of them. Then, I realized something critical. I needed to focus on just one thing, master it, and then move on to the next. So I chose the most important goal and dedicated all my energy to it. And as soon as I did that, my progress skyrocketed. I achieved more in a few months than I had in years of multitasking. Focus is a superpower in today's world of distractions. If you want to achieve extraordinary results, learn to focus on one thing at a time and give it everything you've got. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years. Success is not about giant leaps, it's about small, consistent steps that lead to big results. When I first started working toward my biggest goals, I would get discouraged because I wasn't seeing massive results right away. I expected success to come quickly, but it didn't. Then I realized that if I just took small steps every day over time, those small steps would add up to something great. Every day I would focus on just one or two small actions that would move me closer to my goal. And after months of consistent effort, I began to see real progress. Those small steps added up to something far greater than I ever imagined. Don't underestimate the power of small steps. Consistency, not speed, is what leads to lasting success. Keep grinding, keep moving forward, and you'll get there. Grinding in silence doesn't mean you're always in motion. It's equally important to take time to rest, reflect, and recharge. Success isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And to keep going, you need to give yourself time to breathe. I used to believe that rest was a waste of time, that every minute not spent working was a minute wasted. But as I progressed in my career, I learned that rest is a critical part of the process. It's in those moments of rest that I've had my greatest insights, my most creative ideas, and my breakthroughs. When you take time to reflect, you gain clarity. You can see the bigger picture, understand where you've come from, and plan your next move with greater precision. The rest is not a weakness, it's a strength. It gives you the energy to keep grinding, the clarity to make better decisions, and the perspective to stay focused on your long-term goals. At the end of the day, the loudest success is the one that doesn't need to be announced. When you grind in silence, your success will speak for itself. I've seen people spend more time talking about their goals than actually working on them. They announce every step, every minor accomplishment, looking for validation. But when I look at the most successful people I know, they're the ones who work quietly behind the scenes, letting their results speak for them. Success that's built in silence is strong because it's built on real hard work, not on seeking approval. And when you finally reach your goal, you won't need to say a word. The world will see it for itself. Let your success be your noise. Focus on the grind, stay silent, and when the time is right, your results will speak louder than anything you could ever say. It's time. Time to ghost everyone and grind in silence. Time to stop seeking validation, stop explaining yourself, and just work. The world doesn't need to know what you're doing. You don't need to share your every move. All you need to do is focus, grind, and trust the process. Your success is waiting for you on the other side of silence. Remember, greatness isn't achieved in the spotlight. It's achieved in the quiet moments, the moments when no one is watching. So go ahead, ghost the world. and when you reappear, you'll be unstoppable. Next, the secret to living your best life. Let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like you're living on autopilot? Like your days blur into one another, and despite your efforts, you're not moving closer to the life you've always dreamed of? Today, I want to show you the path to living your best life. A life that's not just about surviving, but thriving. You'll discover the secret that has transformed the lives of the world's top achievers and how you can apply it to unlock your true potential. So buckle up, because today, we're going on a journey that will change the way you see yourself and the world around you. One of the most overlooked secrets to living your best life is clarity. It sounds simple, but most people drift through life without ever stopping to ask themselves what they truly want. Imagine a man named John. For years, John worked tirelessly, putting in extra hours at the office, yet he always felt like something was missing. He was successful by society's standards, good job, nice house, but internally, he felt lost. It wasn't until he sat down one evening, exhausted, and asked himself one pivotal question: what do I really want, that things changed. John realized that he had never pursued his true passion for photography. Within a year of finding clarity and taking action, John had transformed his side hobby into a thriving business that brought him more fulfillment than he had ever imagined. The first step in living your best life is gaining absolute clarity on what it looks like for you. This isn't about living someone else's version of success, it's about defining your vision. Whether it's financial freedom, a deep connection with loved ones, or mastering a skill you've always dreamed of, the more vivid and detailed your vision, the more real it becomes. Pause for reflection. Ask the audience to take a moment, close their eyes, and visualize what their best life looks like in full detail. What does their perfect day look like? What are they doing, and who are they with? Now that you have clarity, the next step is developing a mindset that supports your vision. Living your best life requires a shift from a fixed mindset, where you believe your abilities and circumstances are set in stone, to a growth mindset, where you believe that through effort and learning, you can constantly improve. Let me tell you about Sarah, a woman who once believed she wasn't smart enough to succeed in business. She had been told by family and teachers that she was average her whole life. But one day, she read about the concept of the growth mindset and decided to give it a try. Instead of seeing failures as a reflection of her abilities, she began to view them as opportunities to learn. Slowly but surely, Sarah began to take risks, learn new skills, and in 5 years, she built a multi-million-dollar company. The key? She didn't let her past define her future. Your mindset is the foundation of everything. If you believe that your abilities are fixed, you will stay where you are. But if you adopt a growth mindset, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Your best life isn't limited by who you are today, but by who you have the potential to become tomorrow. Clarity and mindset are powerful, but without action, they're just dreams. The third secret to living your best life is taking consistent action. You don't need to take massive leaps every day. Small, consistent steps compound over time to create extraordinary results. Take the story of Jack. Jack wanted to become a writer, but he never had time. He worked a demanding job, had a family to care for, and always found reasons to put off his writing. One day, he decided to dedicate just 30 minutes a day to writing. It wasn't much, but it was doable. Over the course of a year, those 30 minutes added up. By the end of the year, Jack had completed his first novel, something he once thought would take a lifetime. Success doesn't come from sudden grand gestures. It comes from the small things you do every single day. Want to live your best life? Start today. Take one small action that moves you closer to your vision, and commit to repeating it tomorrow. Over time, the compound effect will create massive changes in your life. Time is the great equalizer. No matter how wealthy or talented someone is, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. The difference between those who live extraordinary lives and those who don't comes down to how they use their time. Let's look at the story of Bill, an overworked executive who never seemed to have enough time. He was constantly stressed, missing important moments with his family, and yet his business wasn't thriving the way he wanted. Then Bill learned about the power of time blocking. He started scheduling his day in blocks: one block for focused work, another for family time, another for exercise. In a matter of months, not only did his business improve, but he also felt more balanced and fulfilled. The secret to living your best life is controlling your time rather than letting it control you. Prioritize the activities that move you toward your goals and eliminate the distractions that steal your time. Encourage viewers to create a time-blocked schedule for their day, ensuring they dedicate time to their most important tasks, relationships, and self-care. Fear is one of the biggest obstacles to living your best life. It's natural to feel fear when you're stepping into the unknown, but you must learn to act in spite of it. Whether it's the fear of failure, rejection, or judgment, understand that fear is a sign you're on the right path. Babysitter Jane, who had always dreamed of starting her own restaurant. She had the skills, the passion, and even a great business plan, but fear held her back for years. She was terrified of failing, of losing everything. Finally, Jane realized that the fear wasn't going away, so she moved forward in spite of it. A year later, her restaurant became a local sensation. Fear was never the enemy, it was her excuse. Fear is natural, but it doesn't have to control you. The people who live their best lives are not fearless, they are courageous. They move forward despite their doubts, knowing that the rewards of taking action far outweigh the risks. Life will throw challenges your way, no matter how well you plan. The secret to living your best life is not in avoiding these challenges, but in building resilience so you can bounce back stronger. Let's talk about Michael, an entrepreneur who built a thriving business from scratch. But just as things were taking off, the economy took a downturn, and Michael's business nearly collapsed. Most people would have given up. But Michael used the setback as a learning experience. He pivoted his business model, adapted to the changing market, and today his company is more successful than ever. Living your best life isn't about having a smooth ride, it's about bouncing back from adversity. When you face challenges, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Every setback contains the seeds of an even greater comeback. No matter how successful you are, life will feel empty without meaningful relationships. Living your best life is not just about personal success, it's about connecting deeply with others. I knew a man who was incredibly successful in his career. He had wealth, fame, and recognition, but deep down he felt lonely. He had spent years prioritizing his work over his relationships, and it showed. He realized too late that the true wealth in life comes from the connections we build, but he started to repair those relationships, and although it took time, it was the most fulfilling chapter of his life. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who inspire you, and who challenge you to be your best self. The quality of your relationships will determine the quality of your life. Change is inevitable, and resisting it will only hold you back. The secret to living your best life is learning to embrace change, seeing it as an opportunity rather than a threat. Think about a business owner named Tom, whose industry was rapidly changing due to technological advances. While his competitors resisted the changes, Tom embraced them. He invested in new technologies, learned new skills, and as a result, his business not only survived but thrived in a changing world. Change is a constant in life. The faster you learn to adapt, the more successful you'll become. Those who resist change get left behind, while those who embrace it create new opportunities. Gratitude is a powerful force that can transform the way you experience life. It shifts your focus from what is lacking to what you have, from complaints to appreciation. I once met a woman who had gone through immense hardship, financial struggles, personal loss, but despite everything, she radiated positivity. When I asked her how she remained so upbeat, she said, "Every morning I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. It reminds me that no matter how tough things get, there's always something to appreciate." That simple practice of gratitude had changed her life. Gratitude changes everything. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you attract more positivity into your life. Living your best life starts with appreciating the one you already have. Challenge viewers to keep a gratitude journal for the next 30 days, writing down 3 things they're grateful for each morning. This simple habit will shift their mindset and bring more joy into their lives. You now have the tools to live your best life: clarity, mindset, consistent action, time mastery, resilience, meaningful relationships, and gratitude. But remember, knowledge without action is useless. The key to living your best life is not just knowing what to do, but committing to doing it. You have the power to change your life. The secret is already within you, waiting to be unleashed. The only question is, will you take the leap? Will you step into the person you were always meant to be? Living your best life isn't a dream, it's a choice. And today, that choice is yours to make. What's one small action you'll take today to begin living your best life? Share it with us in the comments below and commit to taking that first step. Because today is the day you stop dreaming and start doing.